Good evening, everybody, and once again, welcome back to your channel. I am gonna be your host, Saumil Shah, for this video tutorial series. In this video, if you are really excited to learn about ClickHouse and Kafka and you're wondering about the best place to start, this video is gonna be the best guide for you. So what are we expecting? Well, in this video, I will show you how to spin up Kafka along with, of course, Zookeeper. We are also going to spin up a ClickHouse with nodes and replica nodes. Then we'll ingest some data into Kafka topics. We'll learn how real time we can get the data into ClickHouse via materialized view. I'll also show you some aggregates. So this video should be a very good starting point for anybody who's looking for any resources on Kafka or ClickHouse. So I started exploring this couple of weeks back, and whatever I have learned, I want to summarize that through the video. So I hope you are excited. I hope you would love to learn more about this. See, the only prerequisite we have for this particular video is you need Docker installed on your machine, and then just an open mind to learn anything in general, right? So that being said, before we begin, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any updates. So now let's begin the complete hands-on guide. Alright, so I'll navigate you over all the resources first, and then I'll do this exercise with you, okay? So, on my LinkedIn, I have a blog. As you can see, this explains everything about what is a merge tree, when would you use a replication, replicated replacing merge tree, right? I have all the code materials here. I have all the explanation as well. So that's that. And for the code, you will go to this particular repository, ClickHouse Kafka integration. This has a folder called ClickHouse. This has a folder called ClickHouse, and then inside that you would find test.py. This code will be used to publish data to Kafka topic. All the SQL that I fire is there in the example.sql. Docker compose.yml, that's gonna spin up our stack. And in the folder ClickHouse, you will see two files, config and user XML. These are just general settings for the ClickHouse. So, all right. So again, I hope you're excited. So let's begin the lab. So first come to the GitHub and click on this repository. And what I will do is I'm gonna probably open terminal over here. Okay. And then let's issue a clone. So git clone. So as you can see now, the repository has been cloned. Now let's cd into this. Oops. Cd ClickHouse. Okay. So now I'm in the repository, right? So here you can see now we're going to navigate inside ClickHouse Kafka. So I'll just do cd ClickHouse Kafka. And now here you can see docker compose.yml. So first I would like to verify whether on my Mac I have my Docker container running. So yeah, I have my Docker desktop. And now what I will do is docker compose up -- build -t. This will take some time. Again, it has to spin up a lot of containers, right? So it's gonna pull up Zookeeper, it's gonna pull up Kafka UI, Kafka, then it's gonna spin up, ClickHouse. So let's wait for these containers to be in the running state, and then I'm gonna resume the video from here. All right, so the stack looks like it's in the running state. You can verify by going to the Docker desktop, and you should see about 10 containers in the running state. So you can see I have all my containers. Also, what you want to do is head over to Google Chrome and head over to localhost. I believe 8080 or 8081. I think it's 8080. Yeah. So if you go to localhost 8080, you will see a beautiful Kafka UI, as you can see. And on the left hand side, you will see a navigation pane for brokers, topic, and consumer. So here you can see I do not have any Kafka topics at the moment. So pause the video and verify whether you are able to see the Kafka UI up to here, okay? And then we're gonna do the next part. All right, so now that we have our stack up and running, now what we need to do is we need to exec into the Kafka container. We're gonna be installing Faker and Kafka Python. And then after that, we're gonna publish some 5 records into that topic so we can learn overall, right? So first, again, this command is there. We cd into the directory. We use the command docker exec -it. -it stands for terminal mode. Kafka is the name of the image. Bin bash, we're going to start a bash. We're going to install Kafka, Python, and Faker, and then we're going to start the Python interpreter shell. So, hopefully that made sense, right? So now I think I'm missing a braces over here. I will copy this. I'll head over to my terminal that I can see probably over here, and then simply paste it. So as you can see now, it did the pip install, and now I can see the Python interpreter. It's a little hard to see, I'll just make it a little up. So here you can see that's my Python interpreter, right? So I can say import os comma sys, and I can do sys dot version 3.9.7, right? So you have Python over here, okay? Now in the same repo, I gave you a Python file called test.py. What you want to do is simply copy paste all the code over here, okay? I'll show you in a second. So I'm just gonna copy this, okay? And then there's a function called initial push, right? This, it iterates over a 5 samples, and it publishes some data into Kafka topic. Again, this will help us to learn the concepts better. So I'll do that, and you can see customer 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these records are now inserted into the Kafka topic, and now we should be able to see that from, you guessed that right, the Kafka UI. I am on localhost 8080. I will simply do a hard refresh over here. Let's just do localhost 8080. I go to topics, and I'm able to see that customer topic, number of partitions I can see, replication factor, number of messages, and the size is 1 kilobyte. I can click here. I can, of course, do all the settings, whatever needed, but let's go to message. Here you can see the offset. In Kafka, the offsets automatically increments, right? The partition, which partition that data lives in, right? And if you click on any of the records here, you would see that JSON record. Now, the reason I kept only 5, because I want to show you how everything works in ClickHouse, okay? Now, again, I have my blog where I explain things in a much better way, but I'll make sure to cover them in this particular video as well, right? While we are talking about this, okay? So yeah, hopefully you got this part sorted out, right? So go ahead and insert some dummy data into this topic. So now that we have these messages flowing into the Kafka topic we saw, now let's see the ClickHouse part. Now there are 2 ways to connect to the ClickHouse. One is using you exec into the container and run the ClickHouse client. And the second way is you use a tool called DB-Weaver. You can connect to ClickHouse. I'll show you both of them. Whichever you like, you choose your approach, okay? I'll leave that to you. So yeah, so if I wanna again go, I can say docker exec -it ClickHouse 1 ClickHouse hyphen client, and then you can say show databases works, right? But again, if you are like hey, I need a client tool, okay, well, go to ClickHouse, go to DB-Weaver, click on ClickHouse, click on next, and I think you can just leave it to default. It will ask you to download these jars, so I'm just gonna download them, and once they're done, just do a test connection and you're ready to go, right? So let's wait for this to complete quickly. All right, so here you can see, right, it's connected, finish, and then if you expand this, it will take a couple of seconds. Once it's connected, then you can start writing SQL queries, etc. Right? So I just want to show you that. Again, I'll use terminal because I like terminal better, man. So here you can see default, right? Again, please feel free to adopt the approach that you like. Okay, so far, pause the video. Again, keep pausing the video. First part, okay, you understood whatever the file structure, you spin up your stack, then you publish some message into Kafka. Once you're done with that, try to connect to ClickHouse. Once you're done that, now let's try to execute the queries, okay? All right. So I have queries on my left-hand side console, but on the project directory, you will see example.sql, right? That's where all the queries I'm copying from, okay? And I'll make sure I'll explain you as and when I do, okay? So first I'm gonna create a database called Kafka. Now I can do show database. You can see Kafka, right? And similarly, I'm gonna create a database called shard. This is just a name that I'm giving, okay? Just a fancy name. Now we're gonna use a database called Kafka. And if I do show tables, there are no tables inside that, right? Now what I'll do, I think I wanna show you also because I have to explain you. So, all right. Okay. All right. So create table if not exist, Kafka.customer, Kafka consumer. Again, this is a name that I prefer to give, right? Giving it the broker list, different Kafka brokers you provide here, topic, right? And the Kafka group name, right? The format is going to be JSON string and just the default format. One important thing I will say, you will use the word data string and then you will deserialize it. I'll show you, don't worry, okay? So now, again, when you do this, again, this does not hold any data, okay? This is simply creating a source table in that, right? So anything else I need to explain? Probably not. Okay. So now I go here, I simply run the query, and then I can do show tables. Here you can see I have that table, okay? Now, once you're done with that, in case if you want a query, you need to set this flag, set stream like engine allow direct select to 1. So if in case if you want to run an ad hoc query, and now you can say, hey, select everything from this, and just gonna do limit to 1, and I think that's fine, limit to 1. All right, I'm just gonna run this. It will show you the data from the Kafka topic. So if you go to Kafka UI, and if you go to consumer, you will see that the consumer group that you give, right? It will also tell you which particular offset it is on, right? So if you refresh this, I can see over here that particular host again. Anyway, so here you can see that data over here. So now let me go back. Okay, you can also use the word format vertical. It just prints a little nice. Okay, now I'm gonna switch the database to shard. That's the database that we have. Oh yeah, you can't do clear here. Show databases. So I have shard and I have a kafka.db. Okay, again, simple language. Now what we are gonna do is I'm gonna create a customer table in the Kafka over here. Where is my Kafka, guys? Let me show you. Customer messages, open up any one of them. Yeah, simple, right? Again, I've taken sample to teach you, right? Customer, city, name, email, created ad, and timestamp, right? So what I'm doing is I'm using the appropriate data types. In ClickHouse, you have a lot of other data types than your traditional RDS, right? And then here, this is something I want to explain. Engine, you can either use replicated replacing merge tree or merge tree. Now in my blog, I probably covered that, like what are the, so ClickHouse offer a lot of engine, and one of them are like these two. Merge tree, this is the foundational engine for storing data in ClickHouse. It supports partitioning and allows for efficient queries. However, it does not provide a built-in replication. Meaning if you have multiple nodes in your ClickHouse and you want the data to like be replicated across multiple nodes for high availability, right? Then you want to use something called, so again, for playing purposes, use merge tree, but if you have multiple nodes, then use replicated merge tree. I'll just read this. The engine builds upon the merge tree but adds replication feature. It ensures that data is replicated across multiple nodes for fault tolerance and high availability. This is especially important in a distributed environment. Okay, so we'll actually create this. Okay, now let's do show tables. We have customer. Again, right now, there is no data inside that. We created a table in Kafka, like a source one, and now we have a target table. Now to move from source to target, we need something called materialized views in ClickHouse. That does the stuff. So all the incoming data, it will, if you have aggregates, it's going to aggregate and it's going to move to your target table, right? So right now I'm going to show you that. So let me show you. Yeah. Not this one. Yeah. Create materialized view. That's the syntax we use. Create materialized view. If not exist, you give it a name. And usually in ClickHouse, the name that you give to the materialized view is a table name, and you append the word MV. Again, this is what I have seen on the blogs and people using. So I'm following the same convention. I'm using the word MV. To shard.customer, right? So what we are saying is like, hey, now observe this. Okay, let me scroll this. So JSON extract data, customer ID, name, city, whatever XYZ. So now if you go to Kafka, you have these attributes inside that topic. So we are extracting that, right? From Kafka.consumer customer Kafka consumer. This is the table that we made initially, right? So it's saying, if I can show you, okay, this one. So it's saying, read from this table and then write into where is that table? Yeah, and then write into where is that table? Yeah, this one, and then write into this table. Shard.customer, right? So hopefully made sense, right? So so that's that, and then here you can see to to basically means where you want to move it, right? So we are gonna select all the incoming messages from the Kafka as ClickHouse is processing, and once we read that, we are inserting that into this particular table. If you have use case for aggregates, I'm gonna cover that in the as we go down. So right, so simple as that. Again, simple language. I'm gonna tell, man. Listen, simple language. What I've understood and what I want to say. Materialized view is used to read data from like source, and it's gonna move into target. Don't complicate anything further than that. Yeah, so that's that. And then yeah, so again, I'm just gonna refresh your memory. Create materialized view if not exist is that, and then you select and you give it a name. I'm giving it a name called customer underscore MV to where you want to move, and then you select the query, the particular columns and stuff, right? So I will copy this, all right, and then simply paste it, right? So that's done. Now if I do show tables, show tables, this is inside the database called shard, right? So I'm going to do show databases, use Kafka, show tables. Look, you see that customer move. This is the Kafka consumer, the source table. Then we made a materialized view, and then we have a target table. Understood, right? Don't make it complicated. And then now we can actually run queries. So now the actual table, the materialized view moves the data. So now I can say, hey, you know what? I wanna run this. I can see 5 records, right? So I'm querying that from the shard.customer, which means materialized views as the new data is coming in, it's moving data into the Kafka topics, right? So sorry about the noise because I live in downtown. It's quite common. So I'm just gonna take a pause here. All right, so that's done. All right. Similarly, you can query like bunch of columns if you want. And let me actually show you, right? There you go. You see that table inside that ClickHouse table, right? From the Kafka. All right. So Saumil, made sense, right? Now let me show something interesting. So let me show you how it handles updates like fantastically, right? So since I done a lot of work on Apache Hudi and other Lakehouse format, I understand this pretty well. So this uses merge tree, right? So as they call it part file. In Hudi, we had like log files, and then the updates are compacted into a Parquet files. Again, simple language, we're gonna push a new update into Kafka topic, and we'll see how that record is deduplicated, right? That's what I wanna show you. All right. So I'm gonna use the record one, okay? So I'll click on produce message, and then on the value, I will simply change this name to update. All right, ready? I'm gonna push it, okay? 3, 2, 1, boom, gone. All right, so we have a new message in the Kafka topic. Now, if I query my same table, the shard.customer, you'll see that update that came in. You'll say, hey, Saumil, but shouldn't this and this should be merged? Okay, so again, just a little theory right there. So as the data, so I don't know if you have worked with any Lakehouse, but in Hudi, more table, right? So when you write, whenever the workload is extremely heavy, update heavy, right? It will write that in the log file, and then a compaction job will compact it after like certain commits, and it will, make those Parquet files. Similarly, the compaction will occur in the background later on, right? But you have the ability to run this command, optimize table shard customer final, and this will basically do that, right? So I did that, and now if I can query the same table, you can see that update one over here, right? So hopefully made sense. I just wanted to make sure I cover all this stuff, right? Because I had to read a lot of blogs to like figure this out and personally do these labs, right? So great. All right. So makes sense. Now I want to show you probably an aggregate, how to do an aggregate. So in ClickHouse, it's a little different. And the reason it's different is because, again, aggregates are fast because of several engines that it provides. You have an aggregate merge engine, I believe, aggregating merge tree, you have summing merge tree, I guess, and a lot more. There are quite a lot, right? So I want to show you a very simple hello world with, I want to see the total number of customers per given state. So what I want to do is I want to do a group by on state, and I want to do a count, right? That's how I want to do it. I want to show you those steps. So in ClickHouse, first you define those tables. So give me one sec. There's a ambulance that's going by, so I want to take a pause. All right, so that's gone. All right, so in ClickHouse, you do it in 3 steps from what I have learned watching videos, of course. So first you define the aggregate table, right? Once you define the aggregate table, then you have to define a state and then you do the aggregate, right? So I want to show you that. So first I'll say create table if not exist shard.customer count by state. Again, no fancy. It's easy, right? State and customer count, right? Observe here, you have to use an aggregate function and then we are using a count over here. And then the data type is going to be uint32. So I'll probably create this table over here and that's done. Now same thing, right? You have to use a materialized view, right? So I'm going to show you that same concept, right? So create materialized view if not exists called customer count by state. So you use the same table name, but you add the word MV at the end. That's the naming convention. We want to move it to here and this is the query that we are giving, right? So now we do that. Important thing you will observe, you're using a count state. You have to use a state object over here, okay? So now I do that, okay? And then I do that, okay? And now, so all the new incoming streaming record, it's gonna move to that. But the historical data, you have to do a one-time insert probably. So here, I'm gonna say insert into shard.customer count by state. That's the table that we created. And then we're gonna insert this particular into that table. So I'm gonna run that. So let me do that. And now I can query my aggregate table. So I'm gonna do this. Sure, I can see my aggregate, right? So here you can see. And when you're doing, you have to use a count merge tree, right? So again, I just want to probably point out here, Safari. Again, most of the time, Google search will help you, documentation, reading more, right? So here you can see you have replacing merge tree, summing merge tree, aggregating merge tree, collapsing merge. Yeah, you have a lot of merge tree there. So if needed, just dive deep into that, right? So hopefully you saw an aggregate. Now what I want to show you is, okay, if I run this, I can see the aggregate. I want to now, I want to publish a new record to Kafka and you want to see that aggregate has been real time updated, right? So I'll take customer 2 who's in Oklahoma, right? And produce message. I'll go to value and then I'm just going to change the ID, gonna produce this, right? So the message has been produced. Now if I run the same aggregate, look, it was pretty fast, right? It's almost like real-time instantaneous, right? You are able to see that aggregate right over there. So yeah, again, I hope I was able to add some values for beginners who are just wondering, hey, how do I just even get started with ClickHouse and Kafka? So this video, I hope helps you. I personally am learning more about this in my free time, of course. I'm reading blogs, I'm trying out labs and trying to understand stuff. So that being said, these lab materials are on my GitHub. So I would encourage you to try this out. Go ahead, spin up a Docker compose, make mistakes, use ChatGPT to get, figure out those error messages. That's the best way to learn something. That's all I have for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Keep smiling, keep programming. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm not a ClickHouse expert. I'm still learning, as you said, but if I know, I'll try to help you out. If I don't know, I'll probably direct you to the right person or resource. That being said, I will see you in the upcoming next video. Goodbye, everybody.